You can make $1,000 a day in the trades. This is crazy. How can people do that? Right now, there is nobody in the trades. It's pretty crazy. The average age of a blue collar worker in the United States is 40 to 44 years old. And then the average tradesman, electric, plumbing, HVAC, things that usually require a certificate, is 55. There is not enough trade workers in the United States, and there is only more demand for this type of work as the demographic shift with the boomers being in their later years. I know this because I do this, and I have made $1,000 in a day fairly consistently doing trades. It's not that hard. It can be done. I'm not saying it's every day, but it can be done. Now, what can you do to make this type of money? It's fairly simple. Now, it's not quick and easy like you might think I'm going to tell you it is, but it can happen quicker than you think. I started doing the trades when I was 14 years old. I worked for a guy in my church who was a cabinet maker. He would install things like cabinets, maybe stair rails, bookshelves, very fine carpentry things, and things that were very, very high quality. And I learned a lot from this guy when I was young. And I did it with him about till I was around 18, 19. I would work summers, weekends, and there's even in my later years of high school even, I would work almost full time with him. I learned a lot. Now, this type of stuff, these trades they're so looked down upon because everyone thinks it's for people who can't get into college, and it's for people who didn't have another option. You have no idea how hard it is to learn all of this stuff if you want to be a good tradesman in one single trade. It can take years to learn. The guy I worked for at the time, he was about 55. And he had been doing it since he was about my age, 14 or 15. His dad owned a sawmill, and he would work there when he was just a kid, 10, 12 years old, and he learned all about wood. And then he moved on so that he was young. He told me in his teenage years, he was doing cabinet installs for just people who wanted it done and no one else was around to do it. He ended up with a large shop, tons of equipment, at one point 30 employees, and he was doing pretty well. And that was back during the Great Recession when things were pretty tough. Now, we're going into a recession now. You could say that we're in a recession as it is. Cabinets might not be the best thing in a recession, but believe me, there is so much work to do and not enough people to do it. It's going to make the prices go up and up and up. By 2030, it's estimated that over 50% of the workforce is going to have a college degree of some type. Now, what does that do to an employer when over half of the people walking into your office are going to have a college degree? And really, it's going to be more than that 50%, because if you're going in with a degree position, it's almost going to be a requirement. A college degree is just a basic, entry-level requirement. It doesn't set you apart. It just says that you have the ability to sit through 4 years of doing something and relearning most of high school all over again. Now, look, I tried out, college with some friends. I sat in some free classes and watched. They were just doing the same things I was doing in high school. It was crazy. I said to myself, this doesn't even make any sense. I'm already learning this stuff right now in high school. Algebra, basic statistics, things that they just want to make more money off of you from by making you do it again, right? And here's what's crazy. If you pick one trade, painting, for example, and you learn how to paint, a lot of people, this might resonate with you. It sounds very simple. Paintbrush, paint roller, roll on some paint, tape things off. A lot of cases, it is that simple. But there's a lot you can learn. The types of paint, how many coats of paint, how to prep an area, how to use scaffolding, a lot of logistics, and learning how to run a business. Now this stuff, it's kind of a requirement, having paint on some things. If you want to sell a house, many times the realtor is going to suggest to the homeowner, hey, if you want this house to sell and you want to get a better price, go ahead and have it painted. And guess what? If you just do a couple of rooms in a house, it might cost you $5,000. If you do a whole house, easily can cost $20,000 to have that place painted. And guess what? Painting is mostly labor. It's not material. So those profit margins you can get on that paint for a $20,000 job, it could very well be $10,000 to $15,000 that you're going to put in your pocket for painting a whole house. Now, it will take quite a bit of time. And this varies. If you're in a city, say Nashville, Atlanta, or somewhere big, you have a higher opportunity of getting these higher paying trade jobs. Now, if you're somewhere in the middle of nowhere, it's a bit harder, but it can still be done. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have no shortage of work. I'm always thinking about raising my prices. And here's the thing. An average per hour cost of a trade, if you do the math, because of payroll, taxes, advertising, vehicle maintenance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, there's so many inputs, you have to start out charging roughly $60 an hour. That's fairly common. There's places in bigger areas, let's say Seattle, very common to have $120 an hour. And that's not including minimums. A lot of times you have to charge for a 2-hour minimum for any job. You have to drive to the job. You have to set up the job. It could be an easy thing, changing out a garbage disposal, and then you have to drive to the next job. You have to charge them a minimum amount of time for all that setup and driving. You can easily do $120 minimum on a job for almost anything. That's just starting out. Now, if you roll this out, you can easily be, 6 figures, 100K a year. Done it many times. And this stuff is only going to get more expensive. I know of contractors who are high end in their field. They are masters, master electricians, master carpenters, plumbers, people who know their trade. They have 20 plus years experience, and they've forgotten more than most guys know. They're charging upwards of $200 an hour, sometimes $300 an hour to do these trades. Now, here's the thing. Young people don't want to do this. It's not sexy. No one really gives them an applaud for doing it. But look, as time goes on and people in their retirement, they got to spend their pensions and all this other stuff. What are they going to spend it on besides making their houses nice that they live in the years that they live out? Maybe medical bills. But look, this is going to be something that a lot of young people should get into. And maybe even you if you're a little older. I'm 31. If you're in your late 20s, maybe 30s, you still got a great chance to make money at this stuff. And what's even cooler, you absolutely can be a multi-millionaire doing trades. It is not, it's very attainable. Being a doctor, you go to medical school, 8 years minimum. Can't even be 12 or more. All that time that you're there, you're going to be racking up college debt. You could easily have $200,000, $300,000, maybe even $400,000 in college debt. You get out and you make $200-ish starting out, $1,000 a year. I mean, $200,000 a year, and you've got $400,000 in debt. You're not going to pay that off in 2 years. It's probably going to be 5 or 6 years because you have to pay for your own expenses. And if you're super disciplined, set aside $50K a year to pay off that debt. By the time that, let's say you're 30 and you started the trades at 18, you very well could be making $500,000 a year with no debt. This is not unattainable. So here's the thing. If you want to do this, you got to start out simple. Now, you may not make that much at first, but what you're doing is you're learning. There's so much to learn. I mean, I've done the majority of the trades. I've learned the basics in all of them, more or less, and I have no shortage of work. You could send me anywhere in the country, in the United States, I will get work. I guarantee it, and I will make money. I'll make more money than the average person. Now, why am I telling this? I'm trying to encourage you. No school counselor, no college counselor is going to say, hey, maybe you should go be an electrician. Maybe you should go crawl in crawl spaces and be a plumber. They're trying to sell you college. They're not going to sell you this. And they're not going to compare to you the ability to make more money doing these trades than you would in most college degrees. I compared this to being a doctor. There are many, many college degrees. You will not even make half as much of a doctor, and you will be, 60, 100 grand in debt. It's crazy. So here's what's cool. This is scalable. You can be your own person and do this stuff solo, but you can build out a business. You can hire 4 or 5 guys. I've had 5 guys at a time before. I was doing $20K a month personally. This stuff is very doable, And here's the thing. You have learned something no one can take away from you, and you can use it for yourself. I built this house that I'm in right now. I did it. It's such an amazing thing to be able to do. And here's what I would say. Step 1, you're interested in doing a trade. You're in college. You're at a 9 to 5. You're doing something. Go find a contractor. Go find somebody who, is doing something you're interested in. It could be anything. Electric, plumbing, drywall. It could be making, driveways, concrete, etc. The possibilities are endless. And say, hey, I would like to work for you part-time. And believe me, they will have, if the first one you talk to says, well, we don't have any part-time work, go do 2 or 3 more, you'll find them. They are in demand. And say, I want to do some part-time work. Can I do weekends for you and you just pay me whatever? But the point isn't that you're getting the money, it's that you're learning. If you can learn these trades, it's something no one can take away from you. And once you learn it, you don't have to learn it again. And you can go on to do this, and after a while, maybe you decide, hey, I want to do this full time. And this guy who's been teaching you may say, you know what, how about you come over full time and we do some of this stuff and you learn even more and you get to dedicate yourself to it. Okay, now once you've done this and maybe you're working full time, learn all the ins and outs and tricks. Learn every detail of how to do a concrete slab, how to set up form boards, compact the soil, shake and vibrate the concrete, how to screed it, smooth it out, etc. In a little bit of time, you'll start to realize, I can do all this on my own. I already know how to do this all. Then you're going to start thinking how to run a job. You're going to start, hey, boss, how about I go out and do an estimate for you and I write up how to do this particular job. I'll go meet the customer. We'll talk about what they want. I'll make a plan, and then we'll try to figure out the price. Do that a couple times. And then once maybe you've done it with his mentorship and he then gives you the green light, hey, you did a good job on that estimate. We're going to go along with it. Thanks for doing it. You've now got that under your belt. What do you do next? You're still working for the guy. You then say, maybe I pick up a little bit of weekend work. Maybe I do a small job and I practice. On Saturday, you go. You're going to run into people who care about you, believe me. You probably won't even have to advertise. And you say, yeah, I've got a little free time and I can do this job. I can take it on. And don't even do it for the money at first. Do it for the practice. Go to these people. Maybe they just want a small little, slab at the landing of their stairwell to make a concrete pad. Or they want 1 bedroom painted. Or they want a garbage disposal installed. You do up your invoicing process. You do it for them. And then you take that money and you put it in a bank account and you store it away so you can start your own business. You now have a new customer that's yours. And you say, hey, how about you tell your friends and your family about me? And you can refer me to them if you liked what I did. And before you know it, you're going to start getting calls off the hook. People will be reaching out to you from nowhere, everywhere. And then next thing you know, you're going to have so many of these people calling you, and your boss is having you work, and you realize, I have so many people calling me to ask to do these little side jobs. I have more of these side jobs lined up than I could take on in a week. Why don't I shift over? Hey, boss, thank you very much for everything you taught me. Then about 2-3 weeks, I'm going to end up going and I'm going to do my own thing. I already have 20 jobs that are scheduled. And, you know, if things slow down, maybe I can come back to you and I can work full time if it doesn't work out. But otherwise, I'm going to go and I'm going to double the amount of money I'm making, because you might go from 20 an hour with this guy you're working with at first, and then you go out on your own. Immediately, you'll be able to start making $40 an hour, no problem. And from there, you hone in on your skill and you learn the process. You'll be doing $60 easy in no time. It could be much higher depending on where you live, easy. So this is just a thought for you guys. If you're interested in doing this trade stuff, let me know. I know a lot about these trades. There's not much, I mean, I don't want to be cocky, I'm not being arrogant, but I've been doing this stuff for over 15 years now. I've built houses, remodeled, done hundreds if not thousands of handyman jobs. This is a lifelong skill and you never stop learning. That's the cool part. Nobody understands how much knowledge there is in the trades. There are huge, I have books here. I literally have stacks of books. You can't even see bigger than I can fit in the screen of things to learn. And every single piece of thing that you learn is another tool in your tool belt and money in your bank account. All right. So ask me any questions if you want. Get on out there. You guys, this is the best opportunity for the trades almost in American history. You will one day, these trades, if they keep going on, $100 an hour will be minimum. $200 an hour will be common. Think about it. Hey, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.